Good evening. Today is Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024. We're going to open this meeting up with the flag salute and a moment of silence.
This is to advise those present at this October 8th, 2024 regular board workshop action meeting of the Board of Education of the City of Pleasantville in the County of Atlantic that notice was given on January the 20th, 2024 of the revised annual designation of the regular monthly board meetings as required by the provisions of Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975. Notice thereof has been distributed for publication in the press, posted in the administration building, and forwarded to the city clerk of the City of Pleasantville within the time required by said act.
Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Here.
Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver? Ms. Waters?
Here.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Present. We're good?
Yes.
Okay. Next, 1.5, public comments. We ask when you come, can you please state your name, your address, please be courteous and respectful, and also remember that we do not discuss personnel, and please do not mention anyone's names. First, we have, is that first name? No. This is Jenna. First, we have Mr. Flores, I guess. Vidal Bennett Flores. Good evening.
Superintendent and honorable board members. First,
I can't hear you.
Good evening. Hear me now?
No.
Good evening, Superintendent Martinez and honorable board members. First, I'd like to turn around and make certain that my son is not in here because I would like to say something that is very personal, private, and HIPAA. I am coming to you today to request that certain sensitive information be removed from my son's file. There's no need to have it in there. His birth certificate is in there, and anything else that's in there might expose something that the family has not shared with my child. So that is my request of the superintendent and the school board. Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Flores. You can, okay, Mr. Jones will speak with you, okay?
Mr. Who?
Mr. Jones.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next we have Dr. Hyman Medley from the New Jersey Principals. She's the president. PEAA. PAA. Get that right.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Good evening. I know the mic is a little choppy, and I'm tall. Can you hear me? Okay. We just had a few questions on behalf of the NJPSA, PAA union. The first question was about the new job postings or job descriptions that has been listed on the resolution 6.11, section Q, where you have the Dean of Students position requiring to do the disciplinary functions that assistant principal would normally occupy, but the pay and the requirements are not the same. And then also the Senior Manager of Equity, Assessment, and Accountability is a position that does not require no type of formal certification, but they are going to be responsible in the job description for managing principals training and PD and someone of that magnitude. We are looking to see why is it not required to have a certification as at least a supervisor or administrative cert. And then the last one is in regards to, we have a group grievance on the PAA has a group grievance on the board level, and I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware that it was a board level grievance for 2 grievances that we were supposed to have heard at today's board meeting, but we were told that it was denied. So I just wanted to make sure that you are aware there's 2 pending. Thank you, and that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Hamid-Melli. Next, David Dudley from the PEA, Vice President.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The PA wanted to discuss some similar concerns to Resolution 6.11, specifically the Dean of Students and the technology teacher. Our concerns are the introduction of new positions that are not part of the established CBA, and we would like to have an opportunity to meet and discuss proposed or new positions that are going to be created and added to the CBA, because these positions state that there will be part of the teacher pay scale from step 1 to step 11, with step 11 going as high as a doctorate degree. Our initial concerns was because it specifically states that in step 1 through 11, are these positions being created for new employees, or existing employees will be eligible as well? Because the limitation to step 11, like, why would that be in there? Let's suppose you have a teacher who's beyond step 11 and you create this position. Are they excluded? Or were these positions created to specifically for new employees? But either way, the PA didn't have an opportunity to meet and discuss with positions that are going to be part of our union or part of our contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. Next, we have Kathy Watson from the PEA, the president.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm concerned also about this 7.3 policy, the first reading of policy 2200, about the curriculum content. There's a few things stricken out of the current policy. It currently says the curriculum will be reviewed by the superintendent and approved annually by the board in accordance with the law. The curriculum shall, as a minimum, include the curricular mandates of, and then it goes on to say the mandates. Currently, today's reading, it's 7.3, 2200. Now it says the curriculum will be revised by the superintendent and, as a minimum, include the curricular mandates of, and then it gives the law. So it doesn't need to be approved annually by the board anymore. So I don't understand that. And then also, this is the first page, the last paragraph strikes out the board also being involved in the curriculum, and then also says the superintendent shall, in consultation with staff members, assure the effective articulation of curriculum across all grade levels, striking out teaching staff. I don't know who's going to be writing and dealing with the curriculum if the board's not involved and the teachers are not involved, because I wrote physics curriculum this summer because I'm capable. I don't know who's going to be writing this. And the other math teachers wrote the math curriculum because they know what they're teaching and the levels that we're teaching. And if we're importing it from another district, that's the only thing that I could think of, are they going to have the same students as we have, the same programs we have? And that doesn't seem necessary. The board should approve, I think, and also the teachers should be involved in it. And is it a CUSAC requirement? That's all.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Watson?
Have a nice day.
Oh, she has 3 minutes.
Pardon?
Are you finished?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is that policy that is changed, Strauss Esme?
Yeah, the policy directly comes from Strauss
Miss-
Esme.
Ms. Watson, can you come back for a second? We're dealing with the policy. Ms. White.
The policy 2200 curriculum content, that's directly from Strauss Esme, which is statute. So that's directly from them that they're requiring us to do. Anything that was crossed off came from Strauss Esme. We didn't cross it off.
Doesn't the state of New Jersey require the board to approve the curriculum? I mean, who's overseeing the curriculum?
I said the policy came directly from Strauss Esme, which is statute from our curriculum policy administrator that we use for curriculum policy. Well, for all our policies, comes directly from Strauss Esme.
How about CUSAC?
I didn't hear what you said.
Is it a CUSAC requirement that the curriculum is approved by the board?
You said, is it a CUSAC requirement to approve the curriculum?
Or that it's approved by the board?
Is that a CUSAC requirement? The CUSAC, the curriculum content, is that CUSAC requirement? Yes, it is a CUSAC requirement. It is a CUSAC requirement, the curriculum content.
Be approved by the board.
Strauss Esme told
What
us to do
exactly
this,
is the
right?
question?
Isn't it, doesn't CUSAC need to approve, doesn't the board need to approve the curriculum based on CUSAC requirements?
The curriculum is approved by the Board of Education that is aligned to the New Jersey standards and comply with CUSAC.
But in this new policy reading, it's striking out the board needs to approve it.
That policy was reviewed, and that language, I believe, comes from Strauss Esme.
Can we get proof of that? Because I was going to ask that question and just so happened someone came here. Because it looks like it's eliminating the
It's the
board.
first read, right?
Yes, it's a first reading.
This is the first.
Participating.
It's the first read of the policy.
This is the first read of the policy. We'll get clarification for you with this. But normally when things come from Strauss Esme, it's nothing that we can tweak or do anything. That's coming from the DOE. But we'll look into it for you and get
And
back to
also,
you.
can I get
Thank
proof
you.
of that too? Because this is the first
When
time.
we look into it, Mrs. Morgan, we'll make sure all 9 board members gets a copy of everything that we come up with. Thank
Okay.
you so much. We'll get back to you, Ms. Watson. and
Thank
Mr.
you.
Dudley, thank you. Next is Bill Morgan. Bill Morgan? No, going once, going twice. Next, Linda Henderson. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Ms. Henderson. Next, Bill Morgan.
My name is Bill Morgan, but I didn't put my name in to speak about anything. I was just a vendor here to attend. Oh, sure. My name is Bill Morgan, but I don't think I'm the Bill Morgan. I didn't put my name in to stand up here. I was just a vendor to listen in. So, thank you.
You won't. We couldn't.
You couldn't hear that? Can you hear me now? Yes, I am Bill Morgan, but I didn't put my name in to speak. It's interesting. I don't even know how it got up there. So there may be another Bill Morgan, but I'm just standing up here. Thank you.
Testing the, can someone test those microphones to see, not you, Mr. Morgan, I'm sorry.
I signed the wrong sheet. Man's
Okay, no, that's
notifying me.
fine.
Thank you.
Can you test the microphones to see
Testing one,
if they work?
testing 1, 2, 3. I think Mr. Morgan was a little tall for this one, that's all. Can you hear me?
Can everyone hear? No, we can't really hear you up here.
Can we turn that up a little bit, please? We don't want any feedback for sure, but I'll keep talking until we're satisfied up there. Then you can hear everything I'm saying.
Can
Is
everyone
everybody
hear?
okay? And we'll make sure everybody gets the mic close to them.
Can you hear? Can everyone hear?
Everyone good now? Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank
All right.
you.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Linda Henderson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I too have a question about the policy for firearms. It says any student who possesses, uses, or exchange a firearm or weapon in violation of this policy shall be subject to stringent discipline, but it was scratched out as which may include expulsion. So my question is, what reform will be utilized to help the student as well as keeping the students and staff safe? What does stringent mean?
What policy is that on, Ms. Henderson?
Firearms?
Firearms, which?
Yes, 8467 firearms and weapons. Policy alert 233.
The policies were reviewed in the policy committee, and they come from Strauss Esme, and they're mandatory, but if you have any questions, we can address the question that you have on the policy, and we can take it back.
Okay. So the question would be exactly what is stringent, and what reforms are we going to put in place for that student and for the staff and students to be safe? Because you're taking out which may be expulsion.
What paragraph are
Ms.
you on?
Henderson?
The very next to the last one.
Page 2 or 4?
Page 204.
So next to the last one.
And paragraph 3? Or is that yeah, paragraph 3.
Where it says the board shall remove, anything removed? Is that the
Any student who possesses, uses, or exchange a firearm or weapon in violation of this policy shall be subject to stringent discipline, and is scratched out, which may include expulsion.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, just give me a second. Yes, the first reading. Ms. Henderson,
204?
2 of 4, right?
Yes, second page. It's 4 pages. The second page. Third paragraph.
Yeah, 2 of 4.
Okay, so the question in that word?
At the back.
The question is, What is, when it says subject to stringent discipline, I want to know what stringent, what is stringent, and then what reform would be utilized to help the student and keep the students and staff safe if we're not doing, if you taking out expulsion. I got another question. Even though it's from stress, does that mean we have to do everything? Is it suggested that we do this, or is they mandating that we do this? Do we have to follow? It's mandated? Okay, but then we want to know what stringent is and what we be doing.
Well, I think if you pursuant to New Jersey, to that particular statute that listed, that names in the statute here. She wants to know.
Oh,
what
I'm sorry.
stringent means.
All right, thank you. I think we would have to check that New Jersey statute that's indicate, that's stated in this particular document.
Okay, so that's what
So
we're going.
whatever the state's law or discipline is, that's what we would utilize. But do we have anything specific?
So presumably, the word stringent is there in place of expulsion in the event there was some alternative to expulsion. But it also includes that it could be expulsion. There could be some sort of alternative that the court requires that prevents someone from being expelled. But stringent means in accordance with whatever the rules are, or whatever the regulation is, or whatever the law is.
Okay, whatever the law is.
Whatever the law is, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Thank you, Ms. Henderson.
thank you.
Next, Ms. Priscilla Noel.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Just 2.2 board minutes. I wanted to address issue of as far as the grant that was given to do remote tutoring. One of the board members had stated, well, if it's free, what's the difference? I think the difference is that we have to look at what systems work for and are tailored to our students and our population so that it is effective. To just take something because it's free doesn't mean that it will have the impact necessary to serve the needs of those that we're serving. So I think we need to take a critical analysis at those offers when we get them instead of just doing it, because I don't see any of you using the iPads that was agreed upon to use. So to say, oh, well, yeah, they can do remote tutoring and you're not even using technology as the board members doesn't make sense to me. As far as the South Main Loop, I'm very glad for that. There was a lot of talk from the parents and staff that they were sad about the tree that has been there for a long, long time, that it got chopped and taken away. As far as 8.4 community engagement, I would like to see that there's some focus on the high school engagement, whether it's communicating about our sporting events that are happening to garner support or things like that. I think there's a lack of participation because there's not communication with the parents for the high school students. 6.2, as far as new hires, I did not see another high school guidance counselor or curriculum instruction director. High school guidance counselor would be important for the high school considering the snafu of the scheduling that happened, and only I think one person is well versed in making scheduling. So either we hire another guidance counselor or we make sure everybody's trained efficiently and proficiently to do the job, even if one person goes. 3.18, 3.20, 3.21, 3.22, and 23. I'm glad to see that there is attention being given to the athletics facilities. I really do appreciate that. For far too long, these student athletes have done well with less, but I see that 3.7 is a maintenance garage. Why not have a field house? Even Buna, everybody around us has a field house with working plumbing and bathrooms out there so the students and visitors don't have to go back and forth. Is there a way that we can look into a long-term capital investment into a field house out there for our student athletes, which includes housing for the supplies and everything that they need to perform well? And that goes into 3.33. ACIT is getting 210 of our students. If we can improve these things, I think we can retain more students for our district.
Thank you, Ms. Noel.
Ms. Roel, there's two questions I can address for Ms. Noel. 2.2, the list of vendors that was selected for the tutoring, that came from the Department of Education, the list of vendors that came from the Impact Tutoring Grant. And the facilities, that's for the actual facilities department. It's not a field house for the athletes. That's going to be yeah, that was, what happened was the district ordered the actual facility, and this is for the installation for them to put up their maintenance shop and the facilities department. I can't hear you. What did you say? Oh, a field house.
It's coming, Ms. Noel. We know. We're working on it. Fields. Actually, that is an extension of an approval that was done, I believe, last year, and we're just realizing it this year.
Next,
Can I
Mr.
say something
Boswell.
pertaining to that? When,
Ms. Boswell?
I'll go back to it about the
Ms.
field house.
Boswell? Thank you.
How you doing? Tracy Boswell, business teacher at Pleasantville High School. Two things. Technology is an issue at the high school. 24 Mac computers and B202 have been there a year and they're still not hooked up. I teach computer classes. My computer doesn't have the capability to teach the classes that I'm assigned to teach. We need tech help. It's not just me. I think today I have 20 students with no Chromebooks. Second thing, class sizes. I have 140 students. I'm not the only one. There's 34 students in some of these classes. It's unfair to our kids. There's not enough of us to go around. Is there a plan to hire new teachers? Because we need help. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Chromebooks, there's an agenda item for Chromebooks. We're going to be purchasing additional Chromebooks for the district.
Next is 1.6, the superintendent's report.
Good evening, board, staff, guests, and welcome to everyone tonight and our viewers online. My name is Dr. Marilyn Martinez, the superintendent of Pleasantville Public Schools. This week is known as Anti-Bullying Week, where we highlight the importance of respect for each other. Our district is working towards the prevention, remediation, and reporting of harassment, intimidation, and bullying in schools. Respect, also called esteem,
is a positive feeling or differential action shown towards someone or something considered important or held in high esteem or regard. It conveys a sense of admiration for good or valuable qualities. For the 2023 through 2024 harassment, intimidation, bullying, district self-assessments, each school had to conduct one. For each self-assessment, there are 8 core elements: programming, policy, training, curriculum, personnel, incident reporting, investigation, procedures, and reporting. The assessment uses a Likert scale ranging from 1 to 3, indicating 1 does not meet, 2 meets, 3 exceeds. Anti-bullying, the anti-bullying specialist discussed these components and completed the self-assessment in their schools. Each school has an anti-bullying specialist. They completed training, the self-assessment, and the self-assessment is based on practices done last year, and they're compared to the state's rubric, checklist, and resources provided by the New Jersey Department of Education. The following data are the results of the self-assessment for the schools. Overall, the district's total average in self-assessment is 63 out of 78, which is approximately 80%. We will immediately improve in our self-assessment by the immediate corrections, and which are in 2 primary areas of improvement. Number 1, training. And what is very significant that will happen in moving forward is that all contracted services and volunteers will be trained and will require certification of that training prior to starting their role. This year, in moving forward, the business officer and talent and development officer will ensure that all contractors and volunteers are trained and receive certification on harassment, intimidation, and bullying prior to their start. So that may cause a little bit of discomfort for some that are not used to it, but we want to make sure that we are in compliance with regulations. The district is implementing these best practices to prevent and address harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Number 1, all anti-bullying specialists complete online certificate programs. 2, we continue to implement the DREAMS program at the middle and high school, bringing the Nurtured Hearts approach to staff and students. We're expanding inclusivity programs. We started at Leeds, and we're expanding to other schools. We are reviewing the HIB data throughout the month and reporting it. We are celebrating the Week of Respect district-wide. We have climate and culture specialists at both the middle and high school. As I said, we are going to train volunteers and contractors, ensuring that they have certification of HIB training prior to their start. We are implementing restorative practices, and I'm requesting of the board today to approve a resolution to have Dr. Gray of Stockton University, who is a guru of restorative practice and justice, and who also will provide an audit of our code of conduct and work with staff and the board and students to review and develop a code of conduct that aligns with restorative practice and justice and with that policy that was just raised in terms of making sure that we provide consequences that abide by regulation, but that also are about restoring students into the community, the school community. And then Hipster is our program, software program. It is being updated to ensure that personnel reporting is completed according to the guidelines established by the Department of Education. This year, we're implementing a district-wide character education program. Thank you, board, for approving the second step. It's district-wide, and we're also implementing the Franklin Covey, the Leader in Me program at both the middle and high school. And lastly, the district will report our Hibbs self-assessment on the website as per New Jersey Department of Education. Great news. One of our wonderful students, John Howard III, is Pleasantville's first volleyball player to commit to a Division I program. Yes, we are going to celebrate John Howard III. He's going to attend the first historically black college and university that is the first to have a Division I volleyball program, the University of Maryland. He'll be attending the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I'm so excited. You know, it's not that far to drive and go see him. So we can go see him. All right. This year, I want to highlight the terrific work of our administrators and staff at Back to School Night. Here you'll see, and I congratulate our high school principal, Dr. LaPel Chapman, and our terrific high school staff for preparing for Back to School Night. They did a fantastic job. I also want to thank our high school band and band director for welcoming our parents and staff that evening. I also thank our middle school administrators, Principal McGaney Guy and Assistant Principal Mr. Bullock, and the middle school staff for an exceptional job in preparing for Back to School Night. The middle school had 700 parents attend their Back to School Night. Job well done. Congratulations to Principal Hendricks and staff at South Main School for a wonderful Back to School Night. Parents and students were keenly attentive to learning about their new school year. Congratulations to Dr. Hyman Medley and staff at North Main School for a great Back to School Night. Lots of wonderful displays. Thank you to Dr. Cooper Ruiz, principal at Washington Avenue, and staff for their readiness for Back to School Night. Congratulations to Dr. Mitchum, principal at Leeds, and staff for engaging Back to School Night, She had a full house. Parents are our partners. This year, I'm happy to share that 1,700 parents attended Back to School Night. Please give a round of applause to our terrific parents. I also want to share our current average daily attendance. At Leeds Avenue, the average daily attendance is 95%. At North Main, it is 94%. South Main, 94%. Washington Avenue, 96%. At the middle school, it's 93%. And at the high school, it's 89%. It is our goal to ensure that students are attending our schools daily. I want to thank the attendance team, the officers, and Mr. Jones, Director of Engagement and Partnerships, who are really keenly working with developing plans. And I've walked into their meetings where they are actually discussing students by name, not just by number, by name, and really seeking to understand why students are absent and reaching out to families. So thank you to that team. I also would like to share that during the month of September in the middle school, students learned about the Gear Up program. And you've heard me talk about the Gear Up program in the past. The goals of the Gear Up program at Stockton University serve students in grades 7 through 12 and first-year enrolled college students in our district. Students are provided with books, instructional supplies, field trips, meals, and public transportation tickets at no cost. The Goals Gear Up at Stockton University, Atlantic City campus is supported by funds from New Jersey Office of the Secretary of Higher Education, Pleasantville Public School District, Atlantic City Public School District, and Stockton University. Please share this information with parents in the community. The Gear Up program is a terrific program for our students from grades 7th through 12th grade. It is free to them, and we want them to take advantage. of this great opportunity. The Monarch Butterfly release celebration at Leeds was just phenomenal. For me, it was very, very impactful. I had the pleasure of being at Leeds School when students and staff celebrated together the Monarch Butterfly release. So this was on my bucket list, so I checked it off. It was great. I appreciate the teachers along with Leeds administrators who put this wonderful student activity together. This activity made me think about the concept of the butterfly effect, which reminded me that a small effect may impact a larger difference, and that what we do now in providing our students a high-quality education will make a difference in their lives and the community around them. National Hispanic Heritage Month is annually observed from September 15 to October 15 in the United States for recognizing the contributions and influence of Hispanic Americans to the nation's achievements, culture, and history. Como educadora latina, es un privilegio servirles de superintendente para el beneficio de nuestros estudiantes y familia. Para mí, si yo le puedo servir de inspiración o modelo a uno de nuestros estudiantes en su futuro, eso me alegra mucho. Este año nuestro lema es desatada una creatividad ilimitada porque creemos que nuestros estudiantes tienen el potencial ilimitado. Gracias a ustedes por su apoyo. Join us. Únase a nosotros. Pleasantville Public Schools Education Parent Academy. We call it PEPA. On November the 16th this year from 9 a.m. to 1:30 at the Pleasantville Middle School, we are going to have our Parent Academy. It's a Parent Education Academy, where we're going to help parents learn to start a library at home for students to read at their leisure in a very comfortable place at home. We're also going to have topics like understanding special education, IEP 504, and one-to-one aids. We're also going to share and provide training to volunteers so that they understand HIB, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. And from that training, they will receive their certification that will be required for them to be volunteers in our district. We're also going to have training on helping students with homework and using technology at home for parents. And there will be lots of resources and partners there on November the 16th. Our partners will include Latino Institute, who will be presenting workshops and incentives for parents, the Spanish Community Center, the Community Food Bank of South Jersey, the Center for Family Services, Atlantic County Workforce Development, Atlantic County Crisis Intervention Unit, South Jersey Family Medical Center, the Jewish Family Services, Ocean First Bank for Financial Literacy for Families, Stockton University Gear Up, Atlantic Cape Family Organizations, Parent Advocacy Network, Avanzad Organization, and many more. This year, our motto is Unleashing Unlimited Creativity, because we believe our students have unlimited potential. We have high expectations about what our students will demonstrate in learning this school year. We began this school year emphasizing with our students that they can think outside the box and believe in big dreams about themselves, because indeed our students have unlimited creativity and can accomplish great things, and we believe it. Thank you.
Any questions on the superintendent's report? I just have one question. When you have the stock, then you'll let them know in advance when you're going to start that with the community and doing the data and stuff?
So we've met already with students at the middle school. Information has been sent to parents. We'll continue to send information, which is why I'm sharing it. We want to share as much as possible with parents. This amazing opportunity. It is free to our students, to our parents. Students that attend Pleasantville Public Schools from grade 7th and throughout the 12th grade and graduate from Pleasantville have conditional acceptance to Stockton University and Atlantic Cape Community College. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of Gear Up.
Next, any more questions? May I have a motion to approve the superintendent's report? Motion by Ms. Clemens. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Morgan. Questions? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King? Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters? Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, finance. 3.1. May I have a motion for 3.2 to 3.5? We just approved the minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. May I have a motion to approve board minutes 2.1 and 2.2?
I want to make the motion, but I have a question for correction on the August minutes, where at the end of, in August minutes, it stated that we didn't have our July meeting because we didn't have a quorum.
Wait a minute,
but
Mrs.
that's
Morgan,
not-
it has to be moved first before you get the
Okay.
question.
Motion?
Second.
Okay.
When I say question, then you can
Go
ask.
ahead.
Okay. Who first?
Who motioned? Ms.
Who
Morgan?
motioned?
Me.
Mrs. Morgan motion. Who had second?
She did.
I never second anything.
She did second it. She did second it.
Okay, I take my second back. Who's going to second it? Because I never second anything. Ms. Gray seconded. Any questions?
Yes. It's
Oh, Ms.
actually
Morgan.
not a question, it's a statement. On the August minutes, at the end, it stated that we didn't have July's board meeting because we didn't have a quorum, but that's not true. We didn't have I know I received a text message from our BA stating that the meeting was canceled, and then I asked her why. She said because Ms. Roel had a personal matter. So it wasn't from a quorum. That's what was told to me, because I would have came. That's for July's meeting.
Unfortunately, that's not true. We did not have the meeting because it was lack of not having a quorum. Now, if you want to table it, we can, but that's
Well,
not
we
why
could
the
table it
meeting.
because
I'm
that's
not going to
something
argue,
different
but
than
that's
what
why
Ms.
it was canceled.
White texted me, I have it on my phone.
Well, it wasn't canceled because of that. Any
Okay.
other questions? You can abstain or whatever you want to do, but that's not why it wasn't
I
canceled.
said, okay.
Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King? Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan?
No for August meeting and yes for September.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Abstain, I wasn't.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, finance. 3.1. May I have a motion for 3.2 to 3.35? Motion by Mrs. Mello. May I have a second?
I'm sorry.
Second by,
You need to add, I'm sorry, President Roel,
yes.
we need to add to 3.10, resolution, it says PAA should be comma Teamsters.
3.10.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
For 3.10, the resolution needs to be amended to add Teamsters.
Teamsters? Okay.
Yes.
May I have a second?
Ms. Clemens?
Second by Ms. Clemens. Any questions, board?
Yes, for 3.28 for the drop-off loop. My question is, when you go there, you see that both entrances in the front of the school, it say do not enter. Which way are they supposed to come in at?
loop is in the back.
Oh, this is for the back or the front?
Are you talking about the South Main Street?
Yes.
So that loop is in the back.
Oh, it has, well, what's that in the front of the school? Y'all got the one in the front of the school, the one that she was talking about, y'all cut down a tree.
Oh.
So both entrances say, do not enter, do not enter. So how do they, come around?
So, you want to answer?
Coming off of Main Street, they enter, like, because it's the arrows, the way the traffic is flowing. So it should only be a do not enter on one end. It may be because they don't want people entering during the school day.
No, it's two signs that states do not enter.
On each end?
Each end.
Okay, so we'll have to look at
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they should enter one way and then
Right.
exit.
Right,
That's
it
what
is
I
a
thought.
one-way, and I will tell you that it is under construction because irrigation still hasn't been completed, that front,
Okay,
but there's a loop at the back,
right. 'cause
which
I
is
know-
beautiful and functioning greatly. So we still have some work to do to ensure that it's cleaned up, that it looks beautiful at the front.
Yes, it looks nice. It does have the arrows, but it still has the signs.
We'll
But
take a
I'm-
look at it.
I'm very happy that we have it, because I know me and Miss Priscilla kept, trying to get us to get a sidewalk and a loop in the back, and I'm very happy that,
Yeah, we're gonna
we
put a
got it
sign
done.
up that says, we apologize, we're still under construction, looking forward to, we're gonna have a nice sign up.
A couple people asked me, that's why I'm doing it. Any other questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King? Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, may I motion for transportation 4.2 to 4.3? Motion by Mrs. Clemens. May I have a second? By Mrs. Alberto. Second by Mrs. Alberto. Any questions, board? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King? Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters? Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, facilities. 5.1. May I have a motion for 5.1? Motion. Motion by Mrs. Morgan, second by Mrs. Alberto. Any questions, board? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King? Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters? Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is human resources, 6.1. May I have a motion for 6.2 to 6.11? Motion by Mrs. Alberto. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Thea Waters. Any questions, board?
Yes.
Go, Ms. Morgan.
For the retirement, I just had a question, like, every month it seemed like the retirement of this person keeps getting extended.
We can't.
Every month he's being extended when, I don't want to say too much. But why he keeps getting extended every month?
We can discuss an executive. We can discuss, we actually can't discuss an
Can't
executive.
discuss it out
Okay.
We can't discuss in personal matters,
All right,
but understood.
okay.
Any other questions?
I do, I have a
Yes, Ms.
question
King.
for 6.11.
6.11?
Yes. I didn't see a description for resolution Q2, Q1.2, the senior manager of equity assessment and accountability.
It was shared.
I
It was reviewed at personnel and it should be there.
Is it in, did you?
No,
It's
I
an
didn't,
unaffiliated
I didn't
position.
have a,
You
I
didn't
don't
have
have a copy. I just was, what, I was just wondering, what, is that, part of the DEI, is that requirement that the federal government is, mandating or anything like that?
Not exactly. Right, so you're talking about the Senior Manager of Equity Assessment and Accountability? Right, so it really is to ensure that we're looking at the district and all parts of the district, particularly the education of students through a lens of equity, right? Because one size doesn't fit all. So that's equity. And then assessment to ensure that not only the process for testing is thorough, but how does assessment, right, improve? How does it align to our educational delivery of instruction? And then accountability, right? When we talk about student outcomes, when we're talking about growth, we're talking about performance growth, and really doing data analysis with staff, and not just with staff, but with students and parents about student performance, because the accountability is that failure can't be an option to any student, and we have to improve many of the indicators that are before us by the New Jersey Department of Education, but more importantly, we have to ensure that all students are achieving and that they're graduating ready for college, college, career, and the workforce, and that they're graduating with high levels of proficiency at maximum potential. So that's the work that is encompassed in here.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. When will you be able to give, when will you be able, this is not on here, but when will you be able to give us how our kids are actually doing and being able to give us a guideline of where our kids is and what they're actually learning in the classrooms and throughout K through 12?
Yeah, I intend to do that really soon.
Okay, all right. All right, thanks. Any other questions? No other questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clements? 6.9K to number 5. Okay. Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes to everything but abstain from page 28, H3, number 5, page 29, H6, number 13, but yes to everything else.
So page 29, number 6, section 6, number 13.
Page 29, H as in Harry, number 6, number 13. Next page is page 28, H as in Harry, number 3, number 5. We'll pass that to her.
All right.
Passing it over.
Thank
you. On the record.
Okay. Motion carries.
Next, may I have a motion for policy 7.1? May I have a motion for 7.2 to 7.3? Motion. Motion by Mrs. Alberto. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. King. Any questions, board? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Alberto?
Yes.
Ms. Clemens? No to 7.3? No, 7.3. Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel? Motion carries.
Next, curriculum and instruction, 8.1. May I have a motion for 8.2 to 8.4? Motion by Mrs. Clemens. May I have a second? Sorry.
There's a
Yes.
curriculum addendum. Do you want to do it
And
afterwards?
this is an addendum too.
So you want to add the addendum now?
Yes.
Okay, so,
With the addendum. Who motion? Mrs. Clemens motion. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Morgan. Any questions? No questions? No, that's human resources. Do you have the addendum? Go right.
they had an addendum too.
I do have, right?
I don't know, maybe you have to do it afterwards.
Okay. Okay. Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto?
Yes.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
What happened?
We just have the correction for the record, number 9 on the curriculum, page 55. A grammatical error. The name should be Gray.
There's a grammatical error on page 55, 59, number 9. It's just want to correct the name.
Do we have to leave over?
Page 55, 59, number 9. That name needs to be corrected.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead, Ms. White. We're going into exec.
There was a human resources addendum that wasn't
There was a
approved.
human resources addendum too?
Yes.
We have a human resources addendum.
We have a,
The human resources addendum.
this is another,
6.4, we calculated the new packages.
is it over here? I don't see it there. Page
Okay, this is the addendum for,
55, oh.
this is
here.
the addendum for human resources?
Number 9.
Six.
It's in this packet. It's not in here.
Does the public have it?
It's gray.
Okay.
It says
Everyone has it. Does the public have it? No, they said they don't have it. Yeah, you can have mine.
it's page 55.
Yeah, give them mine.
55. Or 612. And then number 9. Yeah, this see, that's right here.
Are we all good? We're going, the addendum. You have it?
I have the addendum.
May I-
Page
okay.
what?
Can we do the addendum first? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the addendum for human resources? Motion by Mrs. Clemens. Second by Mrs. Alberto. Okay, there's another correction on here. This right here. I think this needs to be corrected. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Okay, so we have two corrections on Human Resources, page 1 of 3. It should not read Acting Superintendent. I don't pretend any day, so I am the superintendent, so pardon that error. And then the other one, it's in the activities. I just want to add that for Lead School, they are doing the flu shot. There's an additional date, October 22nd. At the Parent Center. Thank you.
So we have to do these separate, right? Can we do these together or separate?
Let's see.
Blue, yeah. Yeah, okay. So we have to do separate. Okay, so Mrs. Clemens' motion, Mrs. Alberto second. Questions? Okay. Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next is, no, don't you have? You don't have the flu shot. Yeah.
We're adding October
Do
22nd.
we have to move it and second it if we're just adding it? The flu shots for different
Adding
days.
an additional date of October 22nd.
Okay, we're just gonna try to do this.
No.
No.
No, the resolution's in there. We just needed to add a date.
Okay, all right. So go ahead and read the,
So we just added the date.
yes, we're adding a date for the
October
extra flu
22nd.
shots.
For the Lead School.
It is hereby resolved that the Pleasantville Board of Education may go into closed or private session from which the public shall be excluded in accordance with the provisions of set forth in NJSA 10-4-12 and 10-4-13. The following subject shall be discussed on this date in the session of the board closed to the public: personnel, pupil matters, pending and anticipated litigation. Be it further resolved that the discussion in closed session will be disclosed to the public at this time or a future meeting of the board when it is no longer necessary to maintain the confidential nature of the items discussed.
Roll call, Ms. White.
We got a motion to go into exec.
Oh, may I have a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Mrs. Mello, second by Mrs. Clemens. Questions? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to come out of executive session?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Morgan, second by Ms. Clemens. Roll call, Ms. White. Morgan and Clemens. Morgan and then Clemens.
We're talking about. Oh, my lady.
Roll call.
Ms. Alberto?
Yes.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes.
Ms. King? Ms. Mello? Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Motion carries out of exec. No, we just came out of exec.
Dr. Martinez? Oh, next is,
President Roel and board requesting that the board accept the HIB report as provided.
may I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Clemens, second by Ms. Morgan. Questions? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Waters?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next.
Board President Roel and board members, I'm requesting to termination of employees ID number 105.
Can't hear you.
105019 and 104058. Yeah, motion to terminate, please.
Motion?
By Ms. Clemens, second. Second by Ms. Waters. Any questions? No questions? Roll. Oh. Oh. Yes? Say that again, ma'am? Okay. All right.
What? This paper?
Okay. Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Okay. Ms. Clemens?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
No. Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver? Ms. Waters? Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next.
Good evening again. Question and concern. We have election coming up, and I know that we're in school, so I'm asking what plans do we have, action plans for our students and staff to be safe, because in two buildings, one that I know, let me just say the one that I know, there's no metal detector, and we're limited on security officers. Do we have a plan in action for the safety of our students and staff?
Do we have, for election day, do we have a security plan in place to keep the kids safe during that day?
So, Mr. Adcock, Director of Safety, and I, we are working with, along with communicating with the City of Pleasantville to ensure that there is a strong presence of police officers, and there will be no access to inside of those two buildings during election, during the day. They're only limited to coming into one area with no access to the building. You're welcome.
Next, we have Mrs. Priscilla Noel.
So they got school program? They have school?
Hello again.
Hello.
I just wanted to focus in on a few things, and one of them is about guidance, and hopefully we can staff for the high school level. It's not working. guidance and staffing appropriately at the high school level for guidance counselors, because it seems like that the one who knew the scheduling, once she was out, the whole ship sank. And I think that if we're not gonna, again, I'm gonna repeat it, if we're not gonna hire more guidance counselors that, as part of onboarding when staff is hired, or the ones that are there, need to be trained, every guidance counselor needs to be trained in scheduling, or the scheduling system, or whatever is implemented to create the schedule for the students, because it took too long, and they are the ones who, the students are the ones that need to be serviced. So it took too long, and everything should have been prepared for them on day one for school. In addition to that, I think that the student athletes should have their own guidance counselor, because there are nuances to the things that they have to do to be certified NCAA, as we had one that is Division I getting a scholarship. There are steps that have to be taken that are different than the general population of students that need to be well-versed, a guidance counselor needs to be well-versed in, so that as a parent, you're not trying to navigate things, and maybe we have either some parent coaches or some type of student coaches that are collegiate athletes now that can guide and help the upcoming student athletes to understand these are the steps they need to take, these are the courses they need to have to be Division I certified or Division II certified. There are different certifications that happen within NCAA when a student athlete is seeking a scholarship. So I think that they should have their own guidance counselor, or if not, a support team where there's parent coaches or some type of coaches who have done this and then can guide our student athletes to success at the next level. I want to say that, Dr. Martinez, you are doing good work. I will not agree with everything you say, but I see it. One of the things you said was that you wanted we're going to have a clean facility in every school, and you've delivered on that promise. And I see that you are delivering on trying to create unity by having systems in place that are consistent throughout the district, because we don't need one student maybe be on south side, move to north side, and it's inconsistent. So I appreciate you for that, and let's keep you in the district.
Thank you, Ms. Noel.
Ma'am.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Martinez.
Board and Ms. Noel, thank you first. Appreciate you. And I really do appreciate that you are a parent that is engaged and really keeps students first. So I appreciate the advocacy. Just so that the board is clear, we did fund, allocated, and hired a fourth counselor for the high school. I do concur with the recommendation. And Dr. Chapman, the principal, and I, we have discussed that the process for scheduling will be extremely different for this upcoming year. The process will begin much sooner so that students are able to do course selections much earlier. We will be training a group of staff members, and I'm very excited because we're going to use the Encore system, which is an online system, to provide schedules to parents and students. So there will be no paper. We'll be able to, they'll be able to access their schedules through their computer. So all those systems are coming. They're here. We're putting them together. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for the suggestions, and we're listening.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. Next, board comments. Ms. Clemens. Thank you. Ms. Alberto? Ms. Waters? Ms. Silver?
No comments. Let's just keep up the good work and just do what we have to do for our children.
Ms. Mello? Ms. King?
Yes, good evening, and it's good to see everyone come out. Have a good night.
Ms. Gray? Just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. just want to remind you of a couple of things. We have the New Jersey School Board Association this month. It's going to be from October the 21st to October the 24th at the Convention Center in Atlantic City. And also, we're going to have our second retreat on November the 2nd in the library in the high school. We just had one on Friday. Saturday that just passed, and it was a great retreat. So we're hoping to see the board members on November 2nd at 9:30 for the second part of the retreat. And also, I feel honored, and the board feels honored, because the New Jersey school boards that holds their executive meetings, they will be holding one November the 14th here at the high school. So I think that's very, very great news. So they normally hold those meetings at Mainland, Ocean City, Absegami. We're never chosen. So we're chosen to host one of the meetings on November the 14th. So if you guys can come out, that would be great. We hope that you have a great Halloween. Yeah. Oh, and also, Dr. Martinez reminded me you guys are off on Monday and Friday? Friday and Monday? You're off Friday and Monday. So we will see you again next month. Get home safe, and thank you for all that you guys do here in the district. And also, board members, you have a survey in front of you, so make sure you complete it. Don't put your name on it, and give it to Ms. White. May I have a motion to close this meeting? Motion by Mrs. Clemens, second by Ms. King. All in favor? Aye. No opposed? And aye.